you just literally told me I cannot come anymore because of my skin, right? What's wrong with my skin? I've been here for how long?
I'm sorry.
I've been here for how long, Cindy? I've been a member for how long?
I talk to you with respect.
And how have I not been respectful, Cindy?
I'm sorry. Do you know I have the right to refill the service?
You know, and I am not going to force you to do anything, but let me tell you, I'm done, and I will report you, Cindy. This, I swear, I hope people will not come back to you. And I have your faces in here, and this is Cindy, and I will post everything on you, reviewing everything. My skin, you can't do it after how many? Almost a year? Almost after a year?
I keep checking on
after my year?
I'm sorry.
Girl, yeah, open the door for me.
Yeah, please leave. Thank you for coming.
No, thank you for nothing.
Nobody in there. But the gag is, look how many nail shops I went to in less, it ain't even been 10 minutes. It's not even 10 minutes away. Look it. This is the last one. Ain't nobody there. Ain't nobody hanging out.
And shout out to all the black folks that's standing on business when it comes to this boycott, because every Asian store that I passed by today was either completely empty or totally closed. So shout out to y'all for actually using this opportunity to stand on business.
My grandma always used to say, people always think the grass is greener on the other side, but you still got to water that shit. And every time I see certain conversations online, I always think about that. I'm seeing some folks say black people shouldn't be boycotting Asian businesses. Y'all gonna see what happened to y'all. And I'm like, what happened to y'all? What happened to us? What happened to y'all? That's the part that always kind of gets me, right? If black people don't...
The Asian community is literally so anti-black, and it literally fucking pisses me off. Like, we are literally so uneducated, uninformed, just misinformed, everything about the black community, and it pisses me off. And like, it just boggles my mind how a lot of Asians see black people as beneath them. I shit you not, I literally saw someone on my story and I literally was so gagged. Like, I was like, are you serious right now? And I sent him a message, ask him if he's being serious about this. This guy is Bhutanese. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but like, I guess he got like some kind of spray tan or whatever because he's doing some kind of stupid movie shoot or whatever. Roy posts on his story and says, because his skin is like 10 shades darker or something, he said, can I say the N-word now? With a ninja emoji next to it. I slid up so fucking quick and I asked this man, are you fucking serious right now? And guess what? That man left me on red. Need I say again that he is not black? He is Bhutanese from Bhutan or whatever the fuck you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Quite honestly, like, the Asian community is literally so underhandedly racist to the black community, and it just, like, not to mention the black community is one of the most supportive of marginalized groups that has ever, like, uplifted the Asian community and actually put effort into supporting us. I'm probably gonna piss a lot of Asians off for saying that, but it's literally the truth, and I fucking see it for what it is.
I'm making this video as an Asian American to address my fellow Asian Americans who engage in anti-black racism. Let's talk about this. For example, this right-wing Asian says, let me list all the problems that black Americans face that is shared by people of no other race. Okay, list over. Yes, it is true. If a black person has a problem, an Asian or white person has the same problem somewhere in America. There's nothing special about your race. This is, in short, whites acutely aware of the anti-Asian racism throughout American history. Everything from the Chinese Exclusion Act to the Asiatic Exclusion League to the outright ban on Asian immigration in 1924. So how ridiculous do you think it sounds when Asians are anti-black, when it was black Americans and black civil rights leaders who ensured that Asians would get their immigration rights back as part of the 1965 Civil Rights Acts? The civil rights movement influenced U.S. immigration policy intimately because black civil rights leaders recognized their own history and did not want that same suffering on Asian Americans. Therefore, leaders like Dr. King demanded that Asian Americans, Latino Americans, basically anyone non-white immigrating to the United States would be given dignity and humanity. And finally, let's address this nonsense claim that black people are the reason why Asian Americans can't get admission to Harvard or other Ivy League schools. Affirmative action is not your problem, because if you really blamed affirmative action, you would be blaming white women. Why? Because more white women have benefited from affirmative action than every other racial demographic and minority combined. Yet at no point do these Asian Americans who are anti-black and blame black people for affirmative action even bring up white women. Moreover, over 43% of white admissions to schools like Harvard would not have gotten admissions on credentials alone. They got admitted because they're legacy students. And the data shows that 3/4 of those white students were not qualified academically, meaning they took the spot of a more qualified black, Latino, or Asian person. But it's funny how these anti-black Asians have zero regard for this white supremacist policy of legacy, but they want to blame black people. This is white supremacy in a nutshell. And to those Asians who say, hey, look, I stand with black people, I don't believe in this kind of anti-black racism, that isn't enough. You need to speak out and condemn this injustice with your voice and your actions. Class dismissed.
Yesterday, when I made the post regarding people should not be boycotting Asian business, I did not know what the situation was for until later. Come to find out, an Asian man was not guilty for shooting a black teenager kid. And that's why the black folks are mad and they're boycotting Asian business. I see where you're coming from, though. I feel your pain, and I'm so sorry for the tragic that you had to go through. But when I hear the fact that you are going to boycott Asian business, that caught me off guard. And let me tell you why. Is because when you say you are boycotting Asian business, that's a big statement. Like, Asian comes in different areas like Laos, Cambodia, Vietnamese, Japan, Korea, China, India. So when you say you're going to boycott the Asian businesses, that's all of them. But the fact that we didn't do anything to y'all, that's why I'm tripping about. That's it. Not that we're not feeling sorry for the situation. It's just, I know it was a Chinese man who shot the kid, but one man's crime cannot affect the whole community. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's why I was caught off guard, because I'm Asian. And when you say you're going to boycott Asian, that's like involve all of us. And some of us be like, what the hell did we do? We didn't do anything. We knew the situation, but we feel for the situation, but we didn't do anything. That's why I made that video. You see what I'm saying? Not trying to not have no empathy or sympathy about the situation. I feel bad. But it's kind of hard to boycott the Asian community because it's like, it's everywhere. You see what I'm saying? So, with that being said, we need to stop this racism stuff, man. We need to love each other more. We need to really embrace each other's differences and just work it out. And at the end of the day, we need God. That's what we need.
Whenever racism is brought up in the Asian American community, there seems to be this knee-jerk reaction to say, well, we're not racist, but we have a lot of racism perpetrated against us. And there's this immediate defensiveness to say, well, I've experienced so much racism in my life and you just don't understand it and you're trying to silence me right now. As if acknowledging that there is anti-blackness in the Asian community is somehow invalidating any discrimination or racism that individual Asian people have experienced in their life. I think there's two parts of this that are interesting to me. One is something I've talked about before, which is that a lot of people in the Asian community don't have the same awareness that, yes, we are people of color and that we do face racism and prejudice, but in very different ways than members of the Black community do. The second part of this is I wonder if some of this defensiveness is coming from the ways in which a lot of us were socialized and raised to not rock the boat, to be quiet, and to just kind of take whatever it is that's thrown at us. And now that we are adults and we have platforms and we can talk to cameras, a lot of us are really embracing that and really making up for lost time in terms of being able to talk about our experiences and the ways in which we faced discrimination in the past. Unfortunately, a lot of people are using their voice not to stand in solidarity with other communities of color, but to say, I will not be silenced anymore and I need to be listened to. You will not invalidate my experiences of prejudice or discrimination any longer. It is not incumbent upon the Black community to have grace for and teach that part of our community. If it's incumbent upon anybody, I think it's other members of the Asian community to say, hey, we all know what living as an Asian person in this country feels like. And it's not always easy and it's not always good. But the ways in which racism is perpetrated against members of the Black community is also very different than what we feel. And we just don't know what that's like. And that acknowledgement in no way undermines or threatens your understandings of the racism that you have faced. We can talk about how Rick Chow's acquittal was a manifestation of the racism in the criminal legal system, and that the Black community's outrage over it and what they're calling for is a normal and understandable reaction, while also acknowledging that yes, Asian people do face discrimination and racism too, and that our common goal should be to dismantle the white supremacy that is at the root of all of this.
You ain't gonna believe what this Asian American just said about Black Americans getting reparations. Watch this.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Erin Kimura. I'm a 5th generation Chinese and Japanese American and a 5th generation San Franciscan. I'm here today to fully support Black reparations because this is the bare ass minimum. Period. The bare ass minimum. History is enough of a reason. The dehumanization that we've seen is enough of a reason for why we need redress and reparations now. This is not an impossible reality, right? We've seen this with the Japanese Americans in the late 1980s. They received on a federal level reparations. And the fact that Black folks and our Black community and our brothers and sisters are still waiting for a formal apology, I'm just going to leave that there just to simmer. And I just really want to note, especially as an Asian American woman, I would not be here if it were not for the Black liberation struggle, the Black freedom fighters, culture creators, and the world builders that have fought for my liberation. So,
thank you. Thank you for your comments.
She's not wrong. Japanese Americans got federal reparations in the late 1980s. Black folks still waiting on an apology. That alone tells you everything about where we stand in this country. But here's the truth about reparations. As long as our identity is classified as a racial category and not a sovereign people, there's no legal framework to receive it. The government can't do a nation-to-nation transaction with people who aren't recognized as a nation. Meaning if they pass reparations today, they will use the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause to say it's discrimination, like they are literally doing to the Black people getting reparations in Evanston, Illinois right now. That's why the first step of reparations is self-administered reparations. Like I mentioned in my reparations song, we have to upgrade our identity from just being generic Blacks, a racial category, to being indigenous Blacks. You gotta establish the foundation before the institution can recognize you. And